Hi everyone, in this week's lectures you're going to be learning about cell metabolism and respiration, and people in biology generally find this a little bit hard, and the chemistry and biology of cells is not exciting, but metabolism in and of itself is relatable and exciting to all of us. So metabolism is how your body converts food into energy, how your cells do this. So terms like glycolysis and Krebs cycle come into play. So right now I want to give you a broad overview of regular cell metabolism, and then to make it a little bit more interesting, I was going to discuss how semaglutide medications like Ozempic can change this process or alter it. So starting off with regular cell metabolism. Metabolism is the process where your body uses food to convert it to energy. So you have your cells, and all cells in the world need food, whether it's a human cell or a bacterial cell, and food such as carbohydrates, such as the sugar glucose, will enter cells, and then cells will convert it through many processes like Krebs cycle to energy, which is ATP. Without energy, your body can't do anything. You would die. So now I'm going to talk about insulin. Insulin is a hormone that's produced by our pancreas. Our pancreas is just a small organ that's behind our stomach, and insulin is kind of like the key that lets your cells take up glucose, because you need your cells to take up glucose so that they can do respiration, so that they can create energy. So once insulin unlocks the cell, glucose will enter and it will get processed through many different steps that start off with something called glycolysis. This happens inside the cell, inside the cytoplasm, and glycolysis will break down glucose into molecules of pyruvate and form a little bit of the energy molecule ATP. Now that pyruvate will get converted to something called acetyl-CoA, which will enter the Krebs cycle and create more ATP and high energy electrons that will finally go to the final step, which is the electron transport chain, to create more energy molecules, which is ATP. So that's metabolism. Now, in terms of type 2 diabetes, in people with type 2 diabetes, the process isn't as perfect as this. So either the pancreas doesn't make enough insulin, which is important for glucose to enter cells, or cells don't respond to it properly. So it's like trying to unlock a door with a bent key. Glucose can't get into the cells as easily, and over time, high sugar in your body, high sugar in your blood is bad because it can damage blood vessels and nerves and organs and other things. So now I'm going to talk about Ozempic and semaglutide medications, specifically with like type 2 diabetes. So Ozempic is a part of a class of drugs that mimic a hormone that our body naturally produces called GLP-1, glucagon-like peptide 1, which helps control blood sugar levels. And again, glucose is a sugar. So Ozempic and these drugs, these semaglutide medications, work by activating GLP-1 receptors that are found on beta cells in your pancreas. Beta cells are the ones responsible for making insulin, and when Ozempic binds to these receptors, it triggers a lot of events that increase a molecule called cyclic AMP. This activates protein kinase A, which helps beta cells release more insulin when your blood sugar levels are high. So to simplify this, these semaglutide medications help your pancreas be more responsive to the glucose sugar in your blood. It boosts insulin secretion when it's needed. So the more insulin in your system, the easier it is for glucose sugar to enter the cells and be converted into energy, into ATP. What these medications do is they also slow down how quickly your body how quickly food moves from your stomach to your intestines. That's called gastric emptying. Gastric means stomach. So by slowing down the movement of food, it makes sure that glucose is absorbed more slowly into the blood. And this helps prevent these rapid sugar spikes that can occur after a meal. And this gives your body more time to handle glucose efficiently. These drugs also reduce the release of glucagon. Glucagon is another hormone that's produced by our pancreas. So normally glucagon tells our liver to release stored glucose when our blood sugar is low. But in people with type 2 diabetes, glucagon is sometimes released even when it's not needed. So this causes blood sugar levels to rise unnecessarily, and these drugs help suppress glucagon secretion, reducing the amount of glucose sugar released from the liver. Ozempic also does one final thing where it affects an area of our brain called the hypothalamus. So this area of our brain controls hunger and fullness, and by activating GLP-1 receptors in our brain, Ozempic helps you feel fuller longer, and this reduces how much you eat. And so it can help people with weight management, because when glucose levels are low, when sugar levels are low, your body breaks down fats, and so it helps break down fats into fatty acids and glycerol, which are then used to make energy or ATP. So while this shift might help with weight loss, it's also important to know that it alters your body. So there's risk with everything. And so the reason why this matters is by enhancing insulin secretion and slowing down glucose absorption and reducing glucagon release. This helps regulate appetite. So these semaglutide medications help make the body's metabolism more efficient in people with type 2 diabetes. That's the key. In people with type 2 diabetes and people who their doctors recommend it for weight loss and weight management. This shouldn't be taken by everyone, obviously. And so that's trying to make metabolism a little bit more interesting once we talk about the next lesson, which is like how your cells actually take up this glucose, do glycolysis, do Krebs cycle, do electron transport chain, and make ATP.